the difference.
So welcome to the show, everyone. I cannot believe that it is September. It is unbelievable.
It's fast.
I cannot believe it. Now, I want to tell everybody that everyone knows that I tell everyone to talk to everyone within 3 feet of them. That's exactly what we're doing here right on the radio, and we're also doing it on television with everyone as well. My first guest that I have with me has been on my show, my radio show now for, I don't know, maybe 3 years now.
Yeah.
I have with me Michael Van Vleck. He's the owner and designated broker of Denali, Arizona. Welcome to the show. Every time you come on the show, I love when you come on just because we have such a connection with one another. You know,
Agreed.
After being, on the show for so long, you kind of get to know somebody. But I love the way that you present what you do. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
So
and what we're going to
our
talk
company
about.
name is Denali Real Estate. Our website is denaliarizona.com.
I've been doing that for 3 years too.
Yeah, you have. But that's okay. I forgive you. I still love you just as much. We are a licensed Arizona brokerage company specializing in real estate. We also do property management, which we're going to talk about today, about some common mistakes that folks owners or investors have in property management. But we manage properties all across the valley, from Surprise to Queen Creek and everything in between. So we do have a depth of experience. We have a depth of professionals as well.
Here's what I want to say. First of all, we're live on Facebook, so we want to say hi to everybody. So
Hello,
hi,
Facebook.
Like us, follow us. I'm going to be sharing the show after the show, so everyone loves those. They're just,
Totally.
they're so cool because they keep on going and going and going, and everyone just thinks they're the greatest thing. So check us out there, like us, and I'll be sharing it after the show. I want to talk a little bit about your company. A lot of people that listen to this station, they are investors. There's a lot of people that have a lot of different properties. There's some people that do this new, and they think they can do it on their own. And I know that you love educating them to tell people that that want to do it that way.
Sure.
But they also always need to know that you're always there. Always.
I totally agree. So the first thing when somebody calls and says, Mike, I've got a property or I'm thinking of buying one, the discussion that we have is specifically that you should consider doing it yourself. And how do we go about doing that? A lot of folks won't, get there because they don't have the time. They realize they don't have the expertise. But I always think if you can do that, then you should. That's always the first choice.
People make mistakes. And I think that's the number one thing that you will find. Why are you laughing? The number one thing that you will find is that people make huge mistakes.
I don't know. One of those things.
One thing about Mike and I is this. Mike, you came on the show that one time, and this is going to be one of them, I have a feeling. Mike and I, when you were on that show, and there was a little gnat flying around.
Right.
Flew right in your mouth.
It did, right on the radio.
It did, and it was really hard to do it. And sometimes when things happen live, like me saying the wrong name of the company, and it's like right there in front of me.
The funny thing is that I was immediately going back to the gnat situation,
right.
So that's my fault.
No, but here's the thing I want to talk about. So people make mistakes all the time. Why do they make mistakes?
Well, it's usually they're not educated, right? They don't have the experience in that place, so they don't have time. So they're trying to go through it as quickly as they can. In our case, when there is somebody who is wanting to do these things themselves, then it is, hey, let me educate you on some basic principles, the way that you can go about it. If you get to the point where you are in trouble, which is the vast majority of the folks come to us because they are in trouble in some way. Either they've hired another company who potentially didn't have their best interests in mind or didn't turn out how they liked, or they did it on their own and they made some mistakes and now they're in trouble.
Right. Now, one thing that I want to talk about too is that definitely when people call you, there's always someone there that answers the phone.
That's right. So if somebody calls our office right now, somebody will answer. I mean, we have obviously emergency services after hours, but it's very important during the day if somebody's calling the office that there's someone there to answer. I also have people, because when people are looking for rentals, they're constantly, now everybody's using the internet, they're emailing, they're doing all these other things. So I have people there just to respond to those emails throughout the day so people aren't sitting and waiting. The number one complaint from people looking for rentals is that when I reach out to someone I find a rental I like, I can't get a hold of anybody. I call the office, nobody answers. I send them an email, I never get a response. So we're set up specifically to alleviate that issue.
And two, when you hire someone like Mike to do your property management for you, it's nice to know that you have somebody there that is this type of person that makes sure that they are up to snuff, always there to answer all the phones, and that's like showing your character and how you do your business.
Yeah, we offer more guarantees than anybody. I haven't seen anybody offer more guarantees than we do. Whether
like
it's, we offer if we place a tenant and they don't last for 6 months, we'll find the next tenant for you for free. If for any reason that you're unhappy in the first 3 months, we'll give you the money back that you've paid in any management fees. We'll give that back to you. We promise that you're happy all the time. You can fire us at any time if you're not happy at no cost, no penalty. There's no long-term contracts. You can get out any time. So those are just some of the things that we do that are very different than what you'll find in the marketplace
And
today.
the other thing that you do that's different is you come on this radio show and you arm them with good advice so that they can make good decisions.
That's right. So this radio show and what we're doing is not any different than how I go about what we do during the day. So a lot of times when folks call me and say, I have a property and I'm interested, first thing I ask them is, have you ever rented a property before? Have you ever been a landlord? And as soon as they say no, I'm going to say, okay, this conversation is going to be different. Meaning we're going to talk about what you should expect in the marketplace. What are some of the things you should look at? What are some of the mistakes you should avoid? Before you even we talk about what we do and how that's different. Let's give you information so that as you talk to other companies, you know what to ask. You know what to look for. You know some of the problem areas that other companies have had that you should be asking about.
The phone number to call them is 480-626-4062. It's DenaliArizona.com. All right, let's talk some tips. You got some things here, some common property mistakes that they're talking about. Number 2 is tenant screening.
That's right. So one of the biggest mistakes, and this one is actually one of the biggest mistakes, is most owners have no idea how to screen tenants. So they kind of go by credit score maybe. They will try to check their employment somehow. They just don't have a very good, thorough background on what to look for. If somebody submits documents, they don't really know how to analyze them to determine whether the information matters. So in our case, I've probably screened 5,000 people at least. So having a sort of mental database of 5,000 people and having gone through applications, the best part about it is being able to use that data of these 5,000 past and extrapolate that into how did it turn out? What kind of tenancy did they have? So being able to go through that is a significant advantage for us. Our screening is different than our competitors. Most folks think of it in terms of a black box, like you fit in this and you run it and it spits out, and it doesn't work that way. There's a lot of subjective parts to it, and if you don't know how to use the data, you will tend to make the decision. There's always decisions to make in screening that are very easy. The people with 800 credit scores that make $15,000 a month, I mean, those are no-brainers, but those are far and few between. It's the harder ones that are kind of in that middle or even below that you have to know how to process that information to get the best results.
Right, and that's why having someone like you, because number one, you're also very analytical. Tell people about that side.
Well, that's right. So part of our screening is a quantitative-based screening. And so we'll use a factor model as part of our screening that uses this data. So that is, really more of a quantitative approach, but there's a qualitative approach as well.
Right.
So it's multifaceted.
And when we come back, we're going to talk further about it because it's really neat the way that you do that. There's no one else out there like him. The number to call him is 480-626-4062. The website is DenaliArizona.com, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Are you an individual or small business experiencing difficulty with the IRS? Or are you looking to start a small business in Arizona? My name is Lucas P. Fry, and I'm the owner of the law offices of Lucas P. Fry. I am able to quickly recognize problems and come up with a plan to help you deal with the IRS. Contact me today for a free, no-obligation consult at 480-366-5815. That's 480-366-5815. Or find me on the web at lpf-lawaz.com.
Want to buy a house and don't have any money? Talbot Real Estate Team has a solution. We help people find homes with little or no money out of pocket. Talbot Team has helped dozens of buyers find homes using funds provided by grants. We can help you too. Call 602-402-7678 today. That's 602-402-7678. Or find us on the web at talbotteam.com. That's talbotteam.com.
This is Mike Van Vleck with Denali Real Estate. I've been a part of Networking Arizona for over 2 years, and I can't say enough about Carol and all she does. If you're looking to expand your business and want to consider a radio segment, Carol is the only person you should call. She'll make the process easy, convenient, and inexpensive. I highly recommend Carol for any business looking to expand their presence in the Valley.
If you want to get yourself heard on the show, go on my website. It's networkingarizona.net. Get yourself heard on Networking Arizona.
If you are looking for CPR and first aid training from someone who has passion and genuinely cares about saving lives, contact Arizona CPR Training and Certification. You will work with someone who has actually performed CPR in real-life situations, has saved lives, and wants to share her skills with as many people as possible. Classes held in convenient Tempe. To book a class now, call 520-424-4071 or go to www.arizonacprcertification.com.
Hello, I'm Gabriel Paola, owner of the Paola Agency with Farmers Insurance. I'd like to offer all the KFNX listeners a free, no-obligation review of your current insurance policy. I have over 16 years of experience as a top agent, and Farmers is a company with 90 years of experience you can trust. For an auto, home, or life insurance quote, the most important policy you can own, call or text the Paola Agency at 480-753-5800.
First impressions are key to success, and a beautiful smile can make that happen. Here at Forever Smiles, we are committed to your specific dental needs. Our goal is to provide the highest standard of care in a compassionate and comfortable environment. Our phone numbers are 602-992-3000 or 480-491-1170. Give us a call today so we can give you a smile that will last forever. 602-992-3000 or 480-491-1170.
If I traded it all, if I gave it all.
So welcome back. We are talking with Michael Van Vleck, and he is the owner of Denali Real Estate. And we've been talking a little bit about some common mistakes, property management mistakes that people make.
Yes, when they do it on their own.
When they make it on their own. And a lot of people try and do it. We were talking a little bit about tenants and screening. First of all, a lot of people out there, they let their friends live with them, right? Their friends, their relatives, and they know, I don't know why, but they don't screen them because
they don't.
Well, they don't want to.
The other part of the screening is a lot of times somebody will apply, and what most folks don't do is, let's say they have a child, it's a dependent child, but they might be 18, 19, or 20 years old. They don't do a background check on them. So they just say, oh, well, they're a dependent kid, they're probably fine, and it turns out, maybe they've done something wrong, or they have some sort of criminal background that they didn't disclose that you should know about.
So I'm going to get that straight from you. When you do your screening, you screen everyone?
Only everyone who's over 18.
18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's important. I think that's really great because you have some rules and regulations for people that are going to stay in your homes.
Oh, sure. Of course.
Of course.
Absolutely.
But not everybody does have them like yours, and there's a reason that you do the things that you do.
Of course. So there's a lot of provisions in our lease agreements, for example, and this is one of the things that owners make a mistake on, is they don't know what to put in their lease agreement. They don't have any idea what sort of provisions matter or which ones pop up more frequently. Like if they only have 10 homes or less, or 2. Most owners only have 1 or 2. That's not enough experience to say what comes up frequently or what are some general issues. And to be honest, they usually don't have the time to keep up on these things, so they don't know. So my lease agreement, for example, is continuously being updated. In fact, I'm updating it this week with a couple of things that I want to tweak. So. And
the analytical side of it, did you want to add any more to it?
No, I think in any good company you'll be able to use information and data to extrapolate that into good business decisions, and I think that's important. Another part of that is having process. I always say, the 2 things that really are successful in property management is if you have a good process and you have good people. And most folks will come up with a process, but they don't drive it home and repeat it on every day. You have to be strict about it,
right?
To make sure that everything's consistent.
You got to do what works.
That's right.
Right? And that's what you found, and you have a process that works.
And you have to have good people. So if you don't have good, competent people executing the process, that's another place where it falls apart. A lot of management companies will have a great process, but they have not been consistent with their staffing or how they treat their employees or whatever it might be, so they have issues there. And it goes vice versa. You could have great people, but an awful process, an awful broker, or whoever's driving that process, and it will fall apart there too.
Well, he likes to arm people with making good decisions. That's why he comes on here to talk about these things. Maybe you have some questions. Give him a call. The number is 480-626-4062. That website is DenaliArizona.com. We kind of went into friends and family.
We do. Just a general rule, don't rent to them. I have a lot of people that will say, Uncle Joe, wants a place, and I'm thinking of renting to him. I just had somebody who called me last week. They're like, hey, my cousin, he wants to use, he's talking, my cousin, he wants to use from East Coast. But I say you shouldn't do that. I think it's a bad idea because it's a one-way street. Your cousin never calls and says, hey, guess what? The carpet was getting a little bit older. I decided to upgrade everything to this amazing tile. I covered it. No problem. It's always, hey, I'm late on my rent, or, I need a break, or, can you help me with this? Or then they damage the place when they move out. They're like, well, it's just part of normal wear and tear, and it's not. So
it's not.
It's a one-way street. It's a bad idea. A lot of people do it. But what people do, and what I recommend, if you're going to do that, put us in the middle. So I have a lot of owners that want to rent to a friend, and they'll hire us, and then we'll be in the middle. So
Perfect.
We can regulate that and make sure so they don't have to feel bad about saying no all the time. I can just say no on their behalf and offer them a layer.
And they're signing your agreement.
That's right.
And
exactly.
they have to follow it. Okay, so let's talk about legal issues.
Well, the biggest issue that a lot of owners run into is on the legal side. So if something happens, they don't understand what their role or their rights and responsibilities are. The Arizona Landlord-Tenant Act often governs that. But there's also things such as the Americans with Disabilities Act. Fair housing. These are all things that you have to be competent in. And a lot of owners don't understand these regulations, and they make mistakes. I've had lots of folks that will call and say, Mike, my landlord manages it on their own, and they're coming into my house when I'm not home and kind of rummaging around. You can't do that. Things like that. Or the AC will be out, and the owner will go a couple of weeks and not repair it. Just crazy stuff. And the tenants don't know what their rights are or what they should be doing. And if in our case, it's like whether the tenant knows their rights or not, we're going to act as though they do, and in the best interest of the owner and the tenant. So, we want to treat the tenant as if they're our customers. That's what they are. We want to give good customer service. So it doesn't matter whether the tenant knows the laws or not. If you act the right way, you follow the laws, you're always covered, and that's the basis.
And it makes perfect sense, because if you have somebody that you're taking care of like that, they're going to want to stay longer, and that's what you want. You want your tenant to stay there as long as you can.
Yeah, but some owners just make bad choices. The AC goes out, and they're like, well, gee, I don't have the money to fix it. Well, gee, it doesn't matter. You're renting the house. We have to figure something out. You can't delay. If you wait 2 weeks, the AC is still broken. You still have to fix it. So we just have to find a solution in that.
So what's this? Compromise.
Well, a lot of times, compromise sounds like, let's find a way to meet in the middle and compromise. A lot of times I've found that folks that are doing it on their own, they tend to compromise too much.
Right.
In other words, a tenant will call and threaten them and say, if you don't do this, I'm going to sue you, or I'm going to turn you into whatever. And the owner has no idea what they should or shouldn't do. It happens a lot. And so when they don't understand the law, they don't understand what their rights are as owners, they tend to back down and say, okay, fine, just let it go. Because they don't know where to push and they don't know what to do. We had an owner, as an example, at one point, the tenants were kind of bullying the owner, and they were behind on rent by like $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
But people
several
like
months.
that are always the ones that are behind in their rent.
Well, and so they were kind of bullying the owner, and he kind of didn't know what to do, and so we jumped in, and he called and was like, hey, I'm kind of embarrassed to even tell you the story, but this is where I am. And it's like, okay, we can correct this.
Yeah, that's what's really neat about it, is that you're here to talk to them. You could do it on your own, but you make mistakes. And if you do have any questions, you can call him. He's all about educating you. That's all he wants to do. And then if you need him, he's there to help.
Right. I mean, but that's the idea is, look, in those situations you get into trouble, call. There really isn't any situation that we haven't had to deal with in one way or another.
You've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, so there's always options. Like, hey, we can go this route or we can go this route. So it's really up to you. I mean, our process is designed to drive the owner to make the choices, but for us to give them the information to make the choices.
I usually say this for people who are like DUI attorneys and stuff like this, but I'm going to say it this time, and I don't think I've ever done it on any of our shows together. If you own property that you're renting out, write this number in your phone, because you never know when you may need it.
That's right.
The number to call him is 480-626-4062. Check him out on his website. It is Denali, Arizona.
And that's our office address, our office phone. So you can absolutely call there. If you're really having trouble, call my cell phone. Every client that we have hundreds of clients, calls my cell phone directly. And that's 480-292-2151. You can always call me directly. Like I said, every one of our clients has my number directly. If they run into issues, they call, and they absolutely do, all day, all night.
And that's okay,
that's fine.
because that's what you want.
That's right.
You want to help them. That number again is 480-292-2151. We have a couple of minutes here. Accounting, business versus personal.
Yeah, one big mistake that a lot of people make in this space is they combined their business of renting a property with their personal finances. So they merge them all into one account. They have one bank account. They pay their expenses for the rental out of that bank, and it's a bad business. You should separate the two. You should have this account for your home or homes should be its own bank account. Run all the expenses through there, and your personal stuff should be all expenses through there. If you ever get audited, it's very easy to go to the IRS and say, here's the account that I pay all of these expenses out of. Here's everything, as opposed to having them go through all of your personal items to determine what's business versus personal is a nightmare that you don't want to go through.
We all do it, so don't. It's a good idea.
Don't get lazy. It's very easy to do it.
Real quickly, vendor selection.
Yeah, a lot of times. So in our case, we have hundreds of properties around the valley. With the vendors that we've used many times. For somebody to get on my approved list, they've got to over time prove themselves. They have to give us a good value. They have to give us honesty. So I'll pit vendors against each other and send them both to the same job that they don't know, just over time, to make sure that they're on the same path and everything is legit. We, because of our volume, also get pricing discounts. So I always look at it and say, the money you pay us for management fees, we have to find to give you that in value added, which this is a way we save you money on maintenance.
Michael loves to arm you with good advice so that you can make good decisions. I say put the number in your phone. You never know when you could use it. It's 480-626-4062, or you can even call him direct. It's 480-292-2151. It's DenaliArizona.com.